Lando Norris clinches Hungarian Grand Prix victory after holding off Piastri. Lando Norris secured a dramatic win at the Hungarian Grand Prix, fending off a late surge from McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri. The Briton capitalized on a bold strategy shift, running a one-stop race that ultimately paid off with a crucial victory. Charles Leclerc, starting from pole, led confidently through the early laps, maintaining his advantage over Piastri despite an attempted undercut during the first round of pit stops. However, strategic diversity among the leaders began to shake up the race order. Leclerc and Piastri, both opting for two-stop strategies, found themselves trailing Norris, who committed to a one-stop plan in the race's final stages. While Leclerc's pace dropped off, Piastri mounted a serious charge for the lead, closing in on Norris during the last few laps. Despite several close attempts, Piastri couldn't make a decisive move, finishing just 698 seconds behind Norris. The win marked Norris's fifth of the season and trimmed Piastri's lead in the Drivers' Championship to just 9 points heading into the summer break. George Russell claimed third for Mercedes after passing a struggling Leclerc, who ended up fourth. The Ferrari driver also received a 5-second penalty for erratic driving during his tussle with Russell. Fernando Alonso delivered a strong result for Aston Martin with fifth, while rookie Gabriel Bortolito impressed in sixth for Kick Sauber. Lance Stroll ensured a double-points finish for Aston Martin by coming home seventh. Racing Bull's Liam Lawson took eighth, followed by Max Verstappen in ninth after a challenging race that included an incident with Lewis Hamilton, which, after investigation, resulted in no penalty. Mercedes' Kimi Antonelli rounded out the points in 10th. Just outside the top 10 was Isaac Hadjar in 11th for Racing Bulls, with Hamilton finishing a disappointing 12th after a tough weekend. Nico Hülkenberg placed 13th for Kick Sauber, followed by Williams' Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon in 14th and 15th. Esteban Ocon was 16th for Haas, ahead of Yuki Tsunoda in 17th. Alpine had a day to forget, with Franco Colapinto and Pierre Gasly finishing 18th and 19th. Gasly was hit with a 10-second penalty for a collision with Sainz. Ollie Behrman was the race's only retirement after damage to his Haas forced him to exit early. How the race unfolded Saturday's qualifying ended. In a surprise, with Leclerc snatching pole from the McLarens. Ahead of Sunday's 70-lap contest at the Hungaroring, one grid change occurred as Tsunoda was required to start from the pit lane due to power unit and brake changes made under park firm. Though rain had fallen earlier, the race began under dry, gusty conditions. Most of the grid started on medium tires, with only a few choosing softs or hards. Leclerc launched well from pole, while Norris lost ground early, slipping to fifth after brief battles with Russell and Alonso. Norris began recovering quickly, overtaking Alonso by lap 3. Meanwhile, Verstappen, after briefly falling behind Lawson, began clawing his way back. Hülkenberg was the first to pit, followed by others as the field began to diverge in strategy. Leclerc stretched his lead to about 3 seconds over Piastri, but the McLaren driver began to close the gap. By lap 18, Piastri was instructed to pit in an attempt to undercut Leclerc, though it wasn't successful. Norris stayed out longer, inheriting the lead and raising questions about a potential one-stop strategy. While Alonso and others continued on mediums, Verstappen's early stop on hard tires backfired, as he found himself stuck in traffic. By lap 26, Russell had passed Alonso, and Norris was weighing the option of a single-stop race, eventually committing to it with a lap 32 stop. At the halfway mark, Leclerc led Piastri by under 2 seconds, but the strategic pendulum had started to swing. Norris was closing in quickly, and Leclerc made his second stop around lap 40, emerging 7 seconds behind Norris. Piastri inherited the lead, but pitted on lap 46, rejoining behind both Norris and Leclerc. He soon overtook Leclerc to take second place and began hunting down his teammate. Leclerc's struggles continued. He described the car as undrivable and doubted his ability to reach the podium. Russell eventually overtook him for third after multiple attempts and complaints about Leclerc's defensive maneuvers, which earned the Ferrari driver a 5-second penalty. With fewer than 10 laps remaining, Piastri closed to within 1. 2 seconds of Norris, just as the leader began lapping back markers. A late attempt to pass on lap 69 ended in a lockup for Piastri, and though he stayed close, he couldn't make another move. Norris crossed the finish line in first, with Piastri just behind, tightening the title race before the summer.